24 or something like that.
Nice.
Oh,
Hey
we're
guys,
live
welcome
now?
to the stream. We'll be starting in a couple minutes. We're sitting live with Britten, president of Lids. Make sure you guys drop a like on the video. Let us know you're here in the comments as well.
Bro, what time zone are you in? Is it like an hour behind us or?
No, Indiana's kind of funky that way. We're on Eastern, at least in
Oh.
Indianapolis.
All right.
Yeah, but
Cool.
if you go like 2 miles west, you'll be in Central,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. It's an interesting place. And you think about it, it's like it doesn't feel like we're east enough to be in the Eastern time zone. So
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of zigzags through Indiana, doesn't it? That
yeah.
line. Yeah.
I mean, Chicago's due north and it's central, right? So it's
Yep.
What's up, everybody? We got people pouring in already, which is good. We're already over 44. We'll get into the 200s, I think, today, and then live. And while you're jumping in here, let's hit that like button. We got a little gap there. We got 44 people in here, 46 people, only 20 likes. Hit that like button. Free content. We've got the president of Lids here to take us through Lids HD. Let's show some appreciation out there and hit that like button, please.
yeah, thrilled to be on, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we love it, man. We're real happy to have you on, and thank you for you and I have chatted for a while, and thank you for offering to come on and kind of show this off to everybody, because I think, you know, this is probably the hottest thing in the hat world right now is Lids HD. Lids hat drop is probably the biggest news in hats right now.
Yeah, I sure think so, but I'm biased. But I'm gonna try to convince everybody else that that's the case by the end of the show.
You're biased. No. You're biased. I'm not on this subject. So, you know, I see the whole world for what it is, and I think Jason and Leon will attest to that. They do too. This is the biggest news in hats right now, which is pretty cool.
That's one thing I've always loved about you guys, and something we've discussed, Pierre, is you guys play it straight. You're not homers for any of the retailers out there. You just like good hats, good 5950s, and so that to me is the magic behind Views from the Vault. You get some unbiased, straight feedback, good and bad.
Yeah, no, we love it, man. It's always easier to be honest than dishonest. That's for sure. But we do love what Lids has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Crown Royal.
Oh yeah, yeah. My favorites are honestly, my favorite of them all is the Montreal Expos.
Very
a friend of mine in Canada got a hold of it and sent it my way.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't Leon.
No. Little kid, Derek Chartrand out in Montreal got it for me.
Nice.
Jeez. Other people are posting our links in Discord when we go live. That's good stuff.
Nah, people believe in it, man. I mean,
yeah.
When you're building a community like that, man, it's exciting. I haven't shut my notifications off yet.
Oh, I have.
That's how invested I am right now in building it. I'm not shutting them off yet.
Yeah, I'm always on there though. It's taking up way too much of my time.
Yeah. Have you guys even hit a week on Discord yet?
We're at like 10 days.
10 days. So yeah. But once you hit 1,000, I set it up to be an open community. So once we do that, once we hit 1,000, like you can just search it and join. So I think there'll be some pretty monumental growth after that. But I think we have to be active for like 18 days first. So we haven't even hit that number yet.
That's impressive. You'll be past that milestone in no time.
Speaking of Discord, I just want to give a shout out to Donovan. He's been an awesome moderator in there.
Yeah.
And constantly active and keeping things clean. So thank you, Donovan.
All right. Yeah, no, he's doing awesome, man.
Yep.
All the moderators are there. All the
Wiki
moderators
and awesome. Nano, they're all great.
Yeah. All right. Let's get started here, guys, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the vault, guys. Special emergency episode of Views from the Vault. We're sitting with Britten, who is the president of Lids. So Pierre, take it away.
You love to use that word emergency in all kinds of wrong ways. This is exclusive content from Views from the Vault.
All right.
So Leon loves the word emergency because it sounds more powerful, I guess.
Hype it up more. Yeah.
That's it.
Cause hysteria.
Yeah, well, you've caused it now. So what we're gonna do here is, like, first I want to start off by, we were chatting a little bit about this while people were waiting and kind of filing in here. But first and foremost, we want to talk about Discord, just to kind of lay it out there for everybody. The three of us are creating probably what will be the biggest community in the hat world, and I'm telling you, it's going to happen. There's going to be exclusive drops that occur on Discord, meaning I'm creating partnerships with certain vendors to drop things specifically on Discord. There's going to be things that only happen on Discord. The genius that is Hatcrawler has created the fastest connection to buy hats within our Discord.
Let's not say fastest. It's fast.
It's fast. It's fast. There are bots that complete the process for you that are faster, but we don't like those bots. No. We like Jason's bot, which gets you to the checkout process really quickly, and it's pretty impressive. So there's a lot of reasons to be in our Discord right now. And it's also going to branch out. It's into jerseys, into sneakers. It's already got tons of pin stuff in there. This is going to be the most vibrant community out there. Join while you can, and as soon as you can. So with that, there's a link pinned that Leon he was in an emergency state. So he got it pinned. We're ready to go. If you go join, make sure you're joining, but don't miss the fun here. So hit that join button. We'll let you in, and then you're going to have a good time. Just shut your notifications off, though.
Yeah. And
just turn them on for what you want, like the hat crawler stuff. And then go in and check it every now and then throughout the day, like you would Facebook or something of that nature. You're gonna love it. Now, without further ado, we have a special guest here. So when I met Britten was not the president of Lids. He was something else. I don't remember what. He's going to tell us in a minute. But I want to tell you, there's a lot of guys I meet in the hat world, and girls that are just fantastic people. And I've been talking to Britten, I don't know, for maybe a year now. Listen, probably about a year, right?
Yeah, I'd say a little longer.
A little longer.
Months.
Yeah. So you're pretty exact. So 14 months we've been kind of chatting. And listen, man, I know why you got to the position of president of Lids, because listening to you speak and the way you look at the business and your passion and what you're motivated to do and change is impressive to me. And I always think back to our conversation where we went out to Times Square. You were visiting some stores. I went out to meet you in person, and we just sat down. A bunch of folks from Lids, and you were asking for feedback. You wanted to hear what I thought. You wanted to hear what other people in the community thought, and that's when I knew I was dealing with someone that was going to make big changes at Lids and do fantastic things and turn a corner that hasn't been turned yet. So I'd love to hand it over to you, Britten, to tell us a little bit about your Lids journey before you dive into the nuts and bolts of what's going on at Lids. So tell us a little bit about your Lids journey.
Yeah, so I've been in the licensed sports industry since, call it 2014. Started at Fans, which was owned by the Larry H. Miller Group, who owned the Utah Jazz. So we had 125 stores, primarily the Mountain West and the West Coast. So if you're from LA, Fans, you're going there, you're getting your hats. It was a fan shop, though, so we sold apparel, jerseys, headwear, trinkets and trash, all that kind of stuff, right? So we did that for about 5 years. While I was there, I bought hats and designed hats, and I ran the merchant team as well as the marketing team. So I've been doing hats, not as long as Big Jack or some of the others in the industry, but close to 10 years now, and know a few things about it. And I've been wearing a fitted hat every day for a long time. And I've been collecting them for a long time. So I do laugh when I hear things about, their hats come from this factory, or, undervisors didn't exist 5 years ago. Like, I have undervisors up in my closet that were from 2014, right? Yeah. It's never been hotter, that's for sure, but it's been around for a long time. And I credit people like you guys on the Views from the Vault to really stirring it up and getting people focused on it. And it's just been a crazy wave this year, and Lids is riding it. And so my story is, I was at Fans it was acquired by a private equity group, Ames Watson Capital, in 2019. And as part of that, they acquired Fans, and Fans got rolled up into Lids. And I started out at Lids doing the exact same thing I was doing at Fans, which was overseeing all the buyers, the planners, the allocators, the marketing team, basically everyone that was responsible for getting a hat from New Era into the stores and then telling customers about it. And so I've been doing that for 3 years. And one thing that always rubbed me wrong was that we sell more hats than anybody. And it's like a multiple, right? Like a big multiple, not like 2x, like big numbers, especially if you exclude Fanatics, who's second in the race, but they're a close sibling company of ours. So we don't really look at them as competition. But even though we're selling the most hats, we still weren't respected as the best hat retailer, especially from the people that matter, the ones that buy hundreds of hats a year, the collectors and those fashion enthusiasts, right? And so after about being at Lids for a year, I started getting my bearings, and it really rubbed me wrong. And so October of 2019, we started to identify this as an opportunity. Excuse me, it was October 2020. October 2020, we had a meeting, and we acknowledged that there were several competitors in the industry that were kicking our butts, and that we weren't first, and that based on the size and the resources we had, that was just inexcusable, right? And that became the mission, was to get on the fashion headwear trend and never be the follower ever again, and be the leader like we believe we should be based on our size, our buying power, our access to materials and products, and our priority within the newer organization. And so that's why you've seen a slow turn of the tide here, where early in 21 started seeing a few things hit, mid-year a little bit more, and I'd argue by Q4 we had some of the most exciting headwear out there.
Oh yeah. So, listen, I got to thank you for one big thing, getting rid of woven patches.
Thanks to you. We had that talk.
Because I remember after I won that Lids UHC, I was on the phone with some folks and they were asking me my thoughts at Lids, and I was like, "Listen, man, the first thing is please get rid of woven patches. They're freaking terrible." But listen, man, I just loved hearing how that kind of went down. So tell me, like in these meetings, right? Like what's going on? Like you talk about, like you had this meeting, right? What was that? What did that feel like in there? And like, what was your role in that meeting? Because those things sometimes are way more pivotal than people think. I mean, because I'm sure that meeting in October probably is what sparked all of this, right? I mean,
absolutely. It's the kickoff meeting for our number one objective in 21, which was taking over the fashion headwear game, which I don't think we got there. I think 22 will be our year, but we definitely turned around the business in a meaningful way. So the invites to that meeting were the leaders in the marketing department, the leaders in the buying department. Big Jack was in the room, who you're all familiar with. And, Big Jack was the center of a lot of that conversation, because it was one of those things where, Trent Boyd had left, who I know a lot of you know, and Jack was taking over the fashion headwear space at Lids. And it was like, hey, the feedback's out there. It's consistent. They don't like woven patches. They don't like the black undervisors, right? They're looking for at the time, gray unders were really hot. We need some gray undervisors. We need color undervisors. We need embroidered side patches on every hat, and we need to push the envelope. And we had our eyes on someone in particular, and even from a social media followers and things like that, it was too close for comfort. And it was one of those things where we said, we're going to die on this hill. This is the mission. We got to go guns a-blazing, make sure that we put all our resources towards this and get it to happen. Now, you guys know this, turn time in this industry isn't quick, right? You can't call up New Era and say, hey, next month I want a bunch of new hats. And so usually lead times are, on a good year, 8 weeks if you fly it in, 12 weeks if you boat it, right? And that doesn't include if you're sampling hats and trying to get things right. So it can take 3 to 4 months. And then we all know what the supply chain was like last year.
Oh, yeah. Not to mention you had legacy product, because I use this term a lot when we were showing things on Views in the Vault. Legacy product that you knew was before it was still trickling in while the shift was occurring. So some folks weren't understanding that, and it's like, hey, listen, because a lot of our job, Jason, Leon, and myself, is to educate sometimes, in terms of, hey, listen, you can't select your factory like you were talking about earlier. And this product is legacy product. You can tell from looking at it. It has a woven patch on it. That was a legacy product. This wasn't part of the shift into the future. But yeah, I mean, listen, the transformation was I mean, immediate, except for the legacy product, right? Because you can't control that. You got to sell the stuff that you had made before that was just trickling in, but it was immediate. But what I saw that I thought was fantastic was your first couple of collections. I remember Jason and I doing videos on those, and it was the black and red. It was the black and pink, you know, and rightfully so. They weren't copied, but there were colorways that were done before.
Right.
But I've said this to you in private too, Britton, on conversations and with these guys. I thought Roy G. Biv was a huge shift because I was like, oh my God, like, whoa, this is like, no one's done this now, you know, and it was like, now you're starting to, you kind of dipped your feet in a little bit and did a colorway that was pretty similar to something else. And then it started going into this place of being different to the point where now everything you're putting out is, for me, it's remarkably different. Like the Crown Royals are different, man. I mean, all this stuff is different. So tell us about that. Like, was that like you're watching this happen, right? All the while you're kind of, listen, you're building a foundation to get promoted from, honestly. I mean, let's be real. You know, this stuff, like you made a difference and you made a change. And that's probably what got you to your position now. But what was it like watching like this growth occur? Because for me, it was, oh my God, this is amazing to watch. But I'd love to know how it felt for you with this being so close to what you hold dear.
Yeah, we knew what the craze was, right? So it wasn't one of these things where it was like, oh, this is a huge risk, or these things going to sell. It was really, how hot is it going to be and how many can we sell? Because the one thing that's different with us than anyone else is there's a lot of zeros at the end of these orders, right?
Yeah,
sure.
We've got 1,200 stores. All these stores are getting, you know, size runs of these hats. And, you know, the real question is how many are going to sell each week. And so we had to start with our core, right? So when you talk about what are the core looks, you're going to do a black and blue, you're going to do a pink and blue, you're going to do a black red, right? And I would say that those are not original ideas, right? Those are core colorways.
Yeah.
Like a black white sneaker is not like, well, who came out with the, you know, like I hope everyone's making a black white sneaker, right? So that was our foundation. And then as we got the foundation set and we saw the thousands of units we were selling, it was like, okay, there's an appetite for this. Now we got to lean into it and push the envelope on more extreme fashion colorways. And so you saw the Roy G. Biv, which I think is a great hat. And what I love about it is it really was our first hat that was really out there, but it had a story. One of the lessons we learned, and I think you mentioned this, Pierre, when we were at lunch, is having a story behind a collection really takes it to a next level. You can have a great looking hat, but if it doesn't have a name, doesn't have a story, you know, it could sell half as many if there's some compelling story behind it. I think you'll see that tonight as we unveil a few things that people have been waiting for.
And it actually works the other way too. You can actually have an ugly hat that's going to sell out if the story is really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, listen,
we got smart on that stuff.
I'm not saying you guys
it propels things, but like, you know, the analogy I like to use is, you know, I mean, I remember a girl that I dated in high school that I thought she was pretty, but, you know, she got prettier and prettier as I understood more about her and learned more about her. I think that's the same thing, you know, with hats, as you start to kind of have a story and a thought behind it, and it changes the way you look at it. You know, it has a different meaning or connection to you as an individual. So, and you guys have nailed that, man. I think it's something that I've seen some of the smaller retailers do, and it's impressive. You're towing a different line, though. I'm not going to go down any roads and kind of, you know, talk about legal stuff, but you have more restrictions on what you can do in storytelling than, let's say, a small retailer in New York. I mean, it's not the same. With all those zeros at the ends of your orders. Yeah, exactly.
And people know us. We're a household name, right?
Yeah.
If you're a small boutique store, you know, you're hustling, you can probably breach some rights that we just wouldn't feel comfortable doing. And so we do take a little different angle, and we look for our fans and our followers to sometimes carry the torch on identifying and naming hats, because we do have tighter restrictions than a lot of folks out there.
Sure.
Yeah. So we're going to start to get into like where we're at now, but I do want to ask, so just to kind of share with our viewers out there, what is your role now? And it is a little bit removed from you being super close to like the design component and what's, you know, it's a little different now because your responsibilities have expanded, so to speak, and different, you know, but I'd love to hear about your role now and how are you focusing or how are you exerting energy to stay current with listen, man, you're seeing things from 30,000 feet now, right? But I'm sure from knowing you and talking to you, you want to be at 10,000 feet. So you can still kind of get to 30,000, but you still kind of know what's going on. So tell us about your role at Lids now and how you stay at 10,000 feet to kind of stay close to what's happening on the ground level.
Yeah. So in September, I was promoted to president of Lids. The owners of the private equity group that own Lids Sports Group, one of the founders was acting as president, and I reported directly to him for 3 years. And as he felt like we were hitting our stride and we got to know each other a little better, it got to the point where he wanted to focus on other things, right? They're investment driven, private equity, right? So they've acquired a few new businesses, their attention's elsewhere. And so they put me in charge of this exciting business, this great brand, and asked me to run the show. And the great thing about it now is I have 2 hands on the strategy of the company. Always had good ideas, right? And now I have a lot more sway in what we do and how we do it, right? We're still private equity owned, so you still got to get stuff signed off from the people that's money's behind the company. We have a board that we report to, but now I only have to sell myself on good ideas. Lids Hat Drop being one of them.
Yeah.
And the other exciting one I'll just throw out there is Lids is going international. We opened our first 4 stores in the UK back in November, and we will have over 100. We'll have over 100 stores in 6 countries by the end of 2022. So that's the best part. And then I trust my guys. You guys know Big Jack. You'll get to know Andy Galt, who I think is an extreme talent.
Yeah.
Like these.
I think he's on the wrestling. I think he's on the wrestling show now. Sometime.
Yeah, he's going to be a regular panelist on Views from the Top Rope. So
no, but we got to get him on the show, Britton, and Jason, if you can handle that, we got to get him on the show with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
To introduce the world to him. So sorry to kind of
you're good.
Segue there, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Britton.
But look, how this works is we align on a vision, right? That vision often comes from the top and goes down, but we align on a vision, we align on what we want to accomplish. And then I trust my teammates to get it done. And we have the very best buyers and designers at Lids. We have great relationships with New Era. They have great designers that are on our account that we collaborate with. And the team knows what we're trying to do, how we're trying to do it. And I don't need to look at and review every hat that comes across my desk. Even in my old role, I wasn't doing that. We have a head merchant, Bob Durda, who reported me at the time. He's been doing this for 25 years. He had his own stores for a long time, actually sold them to Lids. I mean, these guys know the industry cold. They know headwear cold. And oftentimes I'm just trying to get out of their way. And I just buy the hats and wear them instead. And for me, that's how I stay close to it. And then I watch Views from the Vault every day, right? And if I'm doing those 2 things, then I'm understanding what's going on.
No, we love that. So, Britton, can I ask you one tough question before we segue here?
Yeah.
One of the things you and I talked about, first of all, I want to say I'm impressed when a bunch of retail organizations are limiting their doors and closing doors. You're saying, no, let's open them in a new market, which is dangerous and impressive. I'll just say that it's risky, but it's also very impressive. And it really kind of lends itself to the confidence that you have in your organization to really move this to the next level and expose the product to all new communities, which is fantastic. But, one thing that I really was critical of in our conversation was the retail environment. And a lot of great people in the retail environment. I want to be clear, a lot of great people. But working on, and what are your thoughts in terms of how you're going to improve the in-store experience domestically in the United States? Listen, if there's anything I hear about Lids, it's like, wow, it's improving. It's so great. The product's outstanding. But you still hear, gosh, I go into a store and they don't know what these collections are. They don't know this. They don't know that. So, this is gonna be my toughest question tonight, to be honest with you. What are you, as president of Lids, doing to improve that in-store experience domestically? Because it certainly is lacking compared to like your product choices.
No, it's a great question. It's a fair question. So a couple of things. One is we've hired and developed a visual merchandising team. So we now have visual directives going out to the stores, telling the stores where hats should go, how they should be merchandised. So we can tell those strong colorway stories throughout the store. I think we've already come a long way there. I think if you walk into a Lids, 9 times out of 10, it's a beautiful color blocking throughout those 3 walls. And we got those jerseys on the top and it looks really, really clean. You get to the store associates, right? You know this because you're in retail.
Yeah.
Hiring can be very tough, right? A lot of times these are people that it may be their first job. And, with that, you got to have great leaders. And we do have great leaders. So we have regional directors, district managers, store managers, part-timers, right? Assistant key holders, all this kind of stuff. And internally, we're going to be educating them on the hot drops, sending out one-pager communication so that they can understand that this is the Crown Royal, this is what it's looking like, all that kind of stuff. And as we continue to educate them, right, they'll be able to answer those questions a little better. And you got to remember, sometimes you're walking in and you've been collecting hats for 20 years and they've been at Lids for 20 days, right?
Yeah.
And so it takes some time to get their feet underneath them too. But the desire's there. And I've seen this, and these are words out of your own mouth. When the product's good and the store looks great, the store associates start to take pride in the store and pride in their work.
Yeah.
And they start 100%. To get educated and start to push the product a little better. And I think your
memory is impeccable, my friend. You're verbatim repeating. Yeah, it's impeccable. Because listen, you're giving them a reason to feel good about working in a Lids store. So I really believe it's going to change the trajectory of the retail environment. And I want to thank you, man, because that's another key thing. We talk about you accepting feedback and asking for feedback from the community. You're remembering things I said a year ago. Listen, man. I think it's crazy, man. I'm impressed with what you're doing, Britton. I told you I was going to ask a tough question, but that's the one. And I will say this: if I had to, as an outsider looking in, say where the breakdown is in the retail chain, it's communication. For me, that's the only challenge I have for Lids right now is like, make sure your associates know what they're selling. And that's it, you're getting there. I can feel it because I went into the store in my local store, and the young man that I dealt with knew what he was talking about. He knew which collection was coming. He's engaged with the social media, all that stuff. So it was fantastic. It was a different experience than I would have had 6 months ago. So there's definitely stuff happening there. So that's my last tough question.
No, that's good. It's a fair question.
Yeah. So listen, we're approaching 175 people in here. We've got 83 likes right now. I would really ask, if you're watching this right now, before we move into the next phase of our time with Britton, if you hit that like button, that would be fantastic. Let's get this. We got to get this to 100, 110 likes. Come on. This is great content. You're getting a peek behind the Lids curtain here. Let's hit that like button. And for those that haven't joined our Discord yet, I want you to look at the pinned link that Leon has placed there for our Discord. You want to join that? It's going to become the most vibrant, biggest hat community there is on the planet. So you want to get in there. And Britton, actually, believe it or not, I was hoping he was going to say this. He's in that Discord and he's like poking around in there, and you can kind of see it. So that's that's the president of Lids looking at what consumers are talking about to get a better grasp on what's going on. And I can't share enough how that sets you apart from others. So not that others aren't doing it. I'm saying that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You're the president of a company, the biggest hat company on the planet, and you're in there looking at what consumers are talking about. So
we're students of the game, and people are investing time providing suggestions for this call, and I thought it only made sense to pay them the respect to look at it and see if there's anything I could address beforehand, because we're not going to get through all the questions. No, and I will tell you, we'll be looking at the hashtag Lids on there too. So if you want to get some stuff on our radar, put it on there, and we'll be looking at it.
We absolutely love that. Now, Britton, I think where we're going to go next is I think we're going to go into Lids hat drop, right? Is it okay to call it Lids HD? I don't know. Is that okay? Or
yeah, Lids HD, LHD, it all works.
LHD, and not to get confused with LSD, Leon. Okay, right. So I don't need you.
Yeah, settle down, Leon. Settle
down. So Lids hat drop, right? Lids HD. So let's talk about. I want to hear about the why and the vision behind Lids hat drop. That's what I want to know about. I want to know why, and what the vision is behind it.
So from my perspective, we talked about the meeting in October where we said, hey, we're behind and we need to get there. Well, it became pretty evident very quickly that Lids is like an aircraft carrier, right? We have 1,200 stores. We have to write huge orders. They're going all over the place, right? If we tried to do multiple fashion drops every week, we would have a clearance nightmare overnight, right? Because you get stuck with these size 8s, these size 6 and 7/8. You start having, you know, the occasional miss because not everyone's a home run, right? And the fact of the matter is we sell more hats to the average consumer who's buying 1 or 2 a year, and they just want the Manila stuff. That's where we got to be laser focused, because that's the breadwinner, right? This kind of crazy stuff that we all love as hat collectors that have hundreds of hats, like, we're the 1%. The people that are coming in looking for a black, white Nike hat or a Hurley hat or a AC hat. I mean, we sell more AC than anything else in the store. And yeah, they have black undervisors, but guess what? Still the most popular hat in America, right? And so what we needed is we need a way to do multiple drops a week with consistency so that we could compete with the great retailers that are out there that are doing a nice job, and make sure that we have our name in the hat, right? We want to be inside the ring with these guys and be part of the Royal Rumble. And we can't do that if we're doing the store model. And so with Lids Hat Drop, we're going to be able to do multiple drops a week, every single week of the year, tell incredible stories and collections, which also is difficult to tell in store. It's a lot easier to tell those stories online, right? And then the other thing is we can offer, and we're going to, and I think this is a distinction from our competition, is we're going to offer 30 to 32 teams, depending on the league, right? It's not going to be Yankees and Dodgers and Red Sox. It's going to be 30 to 32 teams. And that means something to a lot of you, right? I can't do that in the stores. That's too much liability for me in the stores, but I'm willing to do it online.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think for those that don't know, man, every retailer's nightmare is clearance. As consumers, we love it. As business owners or retailers, it's hated. So totally get that. Now, can I ask a question though, Brent? Was anybody not on board with this sort of thing? I don't want to know who. I'm just saying, like, was there any resistance you felt as you were? Because you've dubbed this as one of your babies here at Lids, right? So was there any resistance that you experienced with this?
No, this was pretty welcomed by the audience at Lids. It made sense immediately. The light bulbs went on, and you know, it was one of those things that everyone's like, okay, when can we do it? And you know, we were planning on doing this last year, but the supply chain was a disaster, and we just couldn't get reliable drops, right? Because I felt passionate with the team. I don't want to launch the site, have a drop hit, and then wait 3 weeks and have a drop hit, and then wait a month and have a drop hit. And so I told them, I'm like, I'm willing to wait 6 months, 9 months to be able to do 2 drops at a minimum every week forever. And that's where we're at. And so later this month, sorry, not this month, later next month, February, we're going to launch the site and we're going to be there.
Nah, man, this is fantastic stuff, man. I mean, so I think we've got a good understanding of Lids, of Lids Hat Drop, Lids HD. And I gotta tell you, the buzz is crazy around it right now, man. I mean, you can't go into any hat social networking sort of space and not hear about it or talk about it or people asking about it or wanting to know more. And you know, what I thought was great is when I was positioning our time together to you, we decided to kind of do a little bit of a Q&A that would be extracted from our Discord. So our Discord group is only 10 days old, man, but it's vibrant. And we had a bunch of folks submit questions. Jason Mead is a talented man. So I basically extended a challenge to Jason. I said, Jason, can you help me extract the best questions for Britten today? Not only did Jason do that, but he also grouped them together. So if there was like a theme, right? He said, all right, this is the question that best represents that theme. So I think, Jason, you did a fantastic job narrowing this down to its finest points and questions. So I think what we should do here is jump into the Q&A and just get started here. What do you think, Britten? You good with that?
Let's go.
All right. So as we go into this, I first want to ask everyone, we are now at 200 people watching, 109 likes. That's not a good ratio. When we do our lives on Friday nights, we're almost dead even in terms of people viewing and what we have for likes. Hit the like button and please be interactive in the chat. Call each other names politely, whatever it is you need to do to keep that chat going, because that's what draws more people into this. And the last thing before we get into the questions is if you're not already engaged in our Discord, please do that. You're going to see the power of the Discord right now. We have people that are having their questions answered by the president of Lids Britain. And there's going to be a lot more of this to come. So get in there, join the Discord, shut off your notifications because it's going to be overwhelming, and join the fun. So let's get started here with the first question from Gatecrasher. He's one of the mods over at the Discord, a newly promoted mod. So will there be a new LHD membership and rewards program?
There will not be a new LHD membership. Your existing Access Pass membership, which hopefully you all have as a big fan of Lids, will work on Lids Hat Drop. So if you want that 20% off your favorite fitteds, join Lids Access Pass with the paid membership. It's $5, and you'll be able to have 20% off on the Lids Hat Drop site.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Fantastic. So no need, right? You already got one.
No need.
So,
yep.
Fantastic. Thank you for the question, Gatecrasher, and thank you for the answer, Britain. Let's move on to the next question. Will there be drops every week from Supreme Cap and Tell? And just so you know, Supreme Cap and Tell works for a small shop out in Cincinnati called Capanova. So he recently just designed his first set of hats, the SpongeBob collection he did with them. But he's also engaged with Lids and what you guys are doing over there. He loves what you're doing. And he has this question. Britain, what's your answer?
Well, I appreciate the question. So the answer is that we have hats lined up for every week of the year. Now, I don't control their supply chain, but what I'll tell you is if they miss something, we have kind of a backlog planned so that we have a little cushion. Nice. And if for whatever reason it's a really big disruption, like Vietnam closes for 45 days like it did last year, then it may mean more than a few drops in a single week, right? We may have kind of a battle wave of drops that we'd be able to do, but the intent is to do them every single week. We've got them lined up that way. And as long as there's, moderate disruption in the supply chain, we should be good.
Fantastic, man. That's awesome to hear. All right, let's move on to the next question. Will all drops include pins? From Rich Kenny 1.
So not all drops. Well, let me answer this directly. So pins are not included with the purchase of the hat on Lids Hat Drop. Okay. Pins can be added as an accessory to the cart if you'd like a pin with your hat. And so they will be there on most drops, but not all drops. Again, sometimes we might just want to do a cool colorway and there may not be a specific story. And then other times there may be a story that's so strong that we're like, hey, we really think a pin would put this over the top.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Britain. Thank you, Rich Kenny 1. Jason Mead, Maestro. Let's move on. Are Lids HD drops online only? Any in-store stock? I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to allow you to answer this. And thank you for the question. No way, Jose. I think that's your answer. I think that's your answer, actually, Jose.
I think I'm going to answer this a little differently than maybe some of my friends that have been on camera for Lids. So we definitely have intent to have a lot of these be exclusive for Lids Hat Drop. But if we have the best design of the year, I can't see myself having our very best design of the year not living in both places, right? Like I want to have the masses be able to access it in stores. I also want people to be able to access it online. So it's going to depend, but there's going to be a lot primarily that are exclusive to Lids Hat Drop. And then there will be the occasional gem that's in both places.
In both places, also, does that include lids.com?
Potentially. Okay.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I think Jason, Leon, and I have spent more time explaining to people the Lids and Fanatics relationship than anything else in our lives.
It's complicated. It's a complicated one.
It's not really that complicated, though. I mean, Fanatics runs lids.com. But they also handle your distribution. So at least for the .com side. So if it shows up on lids.com and nowhere else, it's a Lids design. If it shows up on Fanatics, it's going to show up on lids.com, but that means it's a Fanatics design. It's not that hard.
Yeah, let me add one caret there. Just one thing. So Fanatics has sole discretion in how they operate and what they buy for lids.com. It is at their sole discretion. Oh, okay. Now we have a great partnership and relationship. And so we can use our influence, make a phone call and say, hey, this is something that's very important to us. We feel like
Mhm.
Roy G. Biv is going to be one of the best styles of the year, and it's exciting, and you guys need to get behind this. And 99 times out of 100, they say, no problem. Let's make it happen for you guys. So it's a great relationship, great partnership. And this wasn't a question that people asked, but I'm going to address it, is these two sites can live harmoniously, right?
Mhm.
Fanatics is the largest licensed sports e-com retailer on the planet. They're actually the largest licensed sports retailer on the planet, primarily online. And they have the world's largest assortment of apparel, hats, and novelties, right? There's not a better website on the planet if you're just looking for something for your favorite team, right? T-shirt, hoodie, beer mug, hat, right? They're not the number one site for fashion headwear, right? They're catering to the fans, the masses. They're not catering to the person that just bought some J's and is looking for a hook, right?
Yeah.
That's what Lids Hat Drop is for. Lids Hat Drop is for the fashion consumer and the collector. The collector says, I already have all those hats, right? I need something different that's pressing the envelope. Or the fashion guy that says, I just need something that ties out.
Yeah. Now it makes sense, Brent. I have a question before we move on to the next one. And I just lost it. Oh my God. I can't believe I just lost the question. You just had me think of something that was, okay. Yeah, I do. I remember. So with some of the sporadic drops at Lids, right? Like you'll see like, like size 8, 7 and 7, 8, 7, not 7 and 7 8. I shouldn't say that out loud because that's going to make some people angry. 7 1/4, 7 3/4. And then, throughout the day it's staggering. Now, Lids Hat Drop, this is going to be more defined and specific. And when it drops and everything drops at once, right? This isn't going to be like someone's going to have to be paying attention to the site all day, hoping 7 1/4 shows up.
This will be a big bang. So when the hats launch for a collection, all the teams will be up, all the sizes will be up. And as long as you're not sleeping, you have a chance to grab one.
Nice. All right. That sounds fantastic. So 184 people in here right now, everyone, 131 likes. We are going to have an exclusive preview after the Q&A from Britten, some hats that haven't been seen before, I don't believe. So he's going to show those off.
This is the first. I had to take him out of Manola and Andre's hands this week as they visited us at the office and said, hey, I need to have something to show that's fun too. So these will be unique.
So some first time looks happening after the Q&A. So hit that like button, everybody. Well, let's move on here. Will there be restocks on Lids Hat drops?
We're open to it. I wouldn't say that we have a strong opinion yet. I think oftentimes if we're doing limited runs and the craze is there, like, would we be willing to? Sure. We also think that new is always really exciting, right? So I would say probably yes. We'll just see how it goes and see what the consumers want. We're here to please the consumers.
I love it. All right. Thank you for that, Britten. We're going to move on to the next question. All right. So now I got to read. With this new area within Lids with exclusive designs and hooks, could we expect polls from Lids Drop HD Instagram account about collection ideas, movie versus book, horror versus sci-fi, etc., and 1 to 2 times a year that people get to pick their own collection that they can eventually buy, almost an interactive environment between consumers and the retailer? I think kind of like the summary of this is like, is there going to be more connection to the consumer and identifying what sorts of things could potentially drop on Lids HD, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I love this question, right? When I hear this question, I think of collabs with designers.
Right. And that was something that keeps coming up in the comments in the video too. Will there be collabs outside of your headquarter designers?
Yeah, so I mean, our first collab is going to be with Manolo, and Andre also has a collab, and they're not Lids employees, right? So I consider those collabs for sure. And I've made some connections even just as I've, had a few more followers than I used to have and people reaching out. We're definitely open to these kind of ideas, right? And I think independent designs are often really exciting because they're not the same logos people are used to seeing. And people like unique, different looks. And I've seen some hats. I have one of my favorite hats Pierre gifted me this year. It was the Hammer and Hank hat in the royal and the red. And that's one of the coolest designs I've seen in a long time. So do we have a platform to do that yet? The answer to that question is no. Is that something that we'll look to develop and do and have some sort of grassroots program? I think the answer to that is absolutely.
Yeah.
And it may not be the first few months. It may be, a year from now or 6 months from now. But I think if we do it right, that's got to be in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great to hear. I think I speak for everyone in saying that's great to hear. All right, let's move on to the next question. And Jason, you have to let me know when we're getting towards the end there. I haven't been keeping count.
Shoot, I haven't either. I think we're about halfway.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised, I guess. Every other store is trying to increase allotment. Why are you shifting to a limited release model?
Yeah, to us, this isn't about a revenue grab. Honestly, like, we're the biggest headwear retailer on the planet. For those that follow some of our leaders or ownership, it's not private information that we crossed the $1 billion sales mark this year as a company.
Damn.
Right. For us, this is about brand and catering to a customer that we've neglected for far too long. Right. And so for me, scarcity helps trends last longer. Right.
Mhm.
Scarcity it drives engagement with the brand. And for us, I think I'd much rather do more drops in smaller quantities than fewer drops with really big quantities. We have this, I talked about the difference in the model. The stores are fewer drops in massive quantities, right? Like if you want to hit, you can go hit in our stores, right? I can walk into 500 of our 800 Lids stores right now and find a wall with 60 facings of great fitted undervisors that we've done in the last 45 to 60 days, right? So if you're not like living and breathing this, go into the Lids store and pick one out. They're there for you.
Yeah.
If you're the guy that's looking for hat 1001 for the year, there's going to be several thousand hats every single time that you can grab, right? Now you may need to go grab a Mariners hat every once in a while and not always try to grab the same 3 or 4 teams that are the hottest. But to me, that's the why, right? It's not about trying to do 100 million in revenue on the site. It's about frequency of drops, developing brand, catering to a loyal following, and driving engagement, and also making sure that this excitement for fitteds doesn't fizzle out because it's on every person's head in America and it's no longer unique and cool.
Yeah, I think if you look at an individual drop, I can see why someone is thinking like, hey, it's a limited release. But when you look at it in totality, there's going to be some collections you're going to dive into or you're going to want to engage with. There's going to be others you don't. Overall, the fact that they're dropping so often, to me, isn't really a limited release model. It's more like you're just getting more variety to choose from. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful thing. Let's move on to the next question.
Before we do that, I do want to say to Britten, I know one Lids for sure where you can't do that. It's the one down the street from my house.
I think
if you want an on-field fitted, yeah, you're good, but the fashion one's not so much.
So I'm pretty sure I'm not stalking you, but I think you live in the breadbasket somewhere, right? Is it?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not far from you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's hard when you have a $200,000 store, right?
Yeah.
That makes it a little tough.
Yeah.
It'd be lucky if it's 200,000.
All right, cool. Price points. This gets right to the point.
I'll be brief. 45 to 50, depending on the style.
Right. If something's got more detail to it or premium fabrics, it's going to be a little more expensive.
Yep. 45 to 50, but we're not trying to gouge, right? Like we know that there's a resale market right now and that we could price these at $60 and people would buy them.
Yeah.
But that's not the goal here. Again, like the goal is taking care of the most important hat consumers out there. And
and if you have your Lids Access Pass, right? We're talking remarkably less. So the best hat pricing in the industry if you have an access pass. So let's be clear about that.
And I will say, just for those that are listening, so that next time we do this, there's 1,500 and not 150. We are looking at increasing the price on the access pass, right? It's a few months down the road.
Yeah.
Likely going from $5 a year to 10. Still a great deal, right? You still get that back, and
it still pays for itself on your first hat.
You buy one hat and you get it back, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's been $5 for close to 20 years.
Yeah,
and so it's long overdue to change.
Yeah,
and so that is going to change. But if you're out there and you're listening, you can renew now if you want to save $5.
Hey, I do have another question about the access pass. Will we be getting coupon codes in our email, or will it just automatically apply if it's connected to our email address?
It'll automatically apply. and I don't know if this is a question or not, but there's 3 pieces of functionality that I required for the site to launch. It was being able to acquire points, spend points, and get your discount.
Yeah.
Check, check, check.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
That alone is enough for Jason and me to fall in love with you.
Yes.
Hey, and my biggest, I don't know if Leon's still on or not, or if he dropped.
Oh, yeah.
But Leon, man, you're always pitching the access pass. I appreciate that. I think you're the biggest fan.
It's the best. I always say it's the best program in the game.
Oh,
It
without
is.
a
I
doubt.
appreciate that.
Without a doubt.
I think you're our toughest critic on the panel, but you do love the access pass, which I'm all for. So
Yeah.
big love there.
That's why he's sitting back and being kind of quiet. He's waiting to hit you with some sort of bomb at some point. That's what Leon does. But I will say I do have to give you guys a shout out for pricing. But listen, you know how I am. I talk about everybody. I do also want to give a shout out to Hat Heaven out in the Bronx, because Brian Chun over at Hat Heaven and his family have kept it consistent at a very low price point as well. So I don't want to. I want to make sure that I'm being honest here. Their pricing is just as strong as yours. I just wanted to throw that out there to Brian and his team at Hat Heaven. All right, let's move on to the next piece. Will there be an app or just a website dedicated to Lids HD? What will the stock look like? High numbers or very limited? Purchase limitations?
Loaded one. Let me keep track of that. So we don't.
There are 3 very good questions, so I just included them all there.
So there will not be an app day one. I think as the site goes and we see how it does and everything, like, apps aren't too tough to develop. So that could definitely be in the 1-year plan. The stock is going to be limited, right? At least for us. This may be a big number for other sites. I think it is probably, but we're looking at anywhere between 2,500 and 5,000 units a drop.
Okay.
So, and that again is across 30 to 32 teams, depending on the league. And high numbers of very limited. I'm not sure if that needs a different answer or not. Purchase limitations.
You answered. You answered.
You answered.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Got it. Purchase limitations, 2 hats per purchase per transaction. So you can go buy your 2, clear the cart, make the purchase, go back in, buy your 2, right? If you want to do that. But we want to make sure people have time to get their hats, and that, we're not having any resale out there. Because again, the point is not to have these be resold. The point is to have as many people that want them be able to get them while still being engaged with us and following us on Instagram. So they're not sleeping at the wheel. So there is purchase limitations both on pins and hats, but you can buy a couple hats, especially I'm a tweener, right? So I'm either a 7 and an 8 or 7 1/4. Oftentimes I'll buy both because I know one's going to fit just right and one's going to be a little off. And these are all handmade. I've been in the New Era factory. I've seen them handmade. And so there is variation, which is, these are pieces of art. And I do want to just shout out to New Era, great partner. Mitchell and Ness, no different, great partner. There wasn't a question on this piece. I'm just going to jump on this. Like, we will be doing releases with both New Era and Mitchell and Ness across a variety of leagues. And some of we do collabs with hip hop artists and things like that. Those will occasionally hit the site as well.
I love how you Lids guys say collabs.
might be because I'm from Utah.
Oh, okay. Because you and Big Jack say it the same way.
Yeah.
But no, I love it, man. So all right, so let's move on, guys. Will they be dropping all? Yeah, we already answered this one, right? So we're good here.
Most of the time, yes. I'm not gonna
Yeah, you're not going to do a Senators on every single drop, but you might.
Most teams will be offered on most drops. How about that?
Yeah.
So this is a good question. So we understand the color stories and whatnot, but will there be any collections where each team may be designed in a unique way?
Yeah, I think if you watched, there's going to be unique styles. I know there's some stuff out there where they'll just do random designs for each different team in the league. There's no boundaries for this site. So if we feel like that's a cool way to do something and a cool story, then we can absolutely do it. I still think there'd probably be some underlying theme that drives the creative for each of the designs, right? But there's no rules here. We'll do whatever's cool and whatever's going to sell and whatever the customers want.
So Britton, I've never asked you this. Like, is there any retailer out there that you look at and you're, again, not envious of it. That's the wrong word, but like you kind of like, wow, I'm really impressed with what this retailer is doing from a hat perspective.
Yeah, I think my man crush in the industry from a hat design perspective is John Jay. I think he does just tremendous design work, and I think he really pushed the envelope with some of the stuff he did this last year with, Harry Potter, Magic Tree House, and that stuff, right? So
yeah.
I think that was incredible work, and it set a very high bar, and that's what we expect of ourselves now. So.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for answering that. I had asked Big Jack that question. I never asked you. I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were there. Is there any more questions, Jason?
I think there's a couple more.
All right, let's do them.
All
right, so that's actually a good segue. I didn't know this was the next question, but has Lids ever considered teaming up and collaborating with a MyFids or another designer to get permission to re-release a very popular pack, or thought about re-releasing a collaboration so both MyFids or another designer and Lids could sell the same hat with, basically they're just, this question is kind of getting to a point of like, with allocation restrictions for some of these other retailers, is there ever an opportunity for you to collab and re-release? That's not really a collab. It's more about re-releasing something that someone else did in order to get that to a larger market.
Yeah, so I don't see a benefit for us to really do that. Like, I'd rather come up with our own designs and not pay a royalty to a competitor,
yeah.
Right? Like, paying a royalty to a competitor doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think we have a talented team that can design really great stuff, right? And those competitors, they do get allocation. So at some point they're gonna be able to restock that if that's what they're passionate about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't foresee that ever being something I'd be interested in doing. Now, would I be interested in partnering with the designer to do an independent design for Lids and cutting them a royalty if the design's crazy and we love it and it's a cool collab? Like, I'm all about that. That makes a ton of sense for me, right? That extends my design team, that extends my buyers and all that kind of stuff. And I don't mean that with any disrespect to any of the other retailers out there. I just don't think it makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. Like, what kind of confidence are you instilling in your own team if you're sitting here and saying, hey, I'm going to take our allocation and apply it to something somebody else made? I totally get where you're coming from, Britton. All right, let's see what's next.
Oh, I guess that was it. I for some reason I thought I had it in there, but it must have fallen out. But one of the big things in the fitted world right now, one of the main concerns, I guess I would say, is bots. What has Lids HD and what has your team done to help prevent bots and make sure it's fair for users that grab manually?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something that, again, because we're students of the game, we knew this was critical. And so we do have multiple layers of functionality at site launch that should address it. Now, You guys know this. If the coder on the other side of that bot is really, really good, I'm sure, like anything, you can beat the system if you have the right code, right? So I can't say it's going to be bot proof, but we have multiple layers of functionality that are supposed to make it very difficult for the bots.
Okay.
And I'm not even going to say what they are because I don't want
you don't want to say what they are.
I don't want these knuckleheads thinking of ways to crack the code.
But if they try hard enough, they'll try and figure it out anyway. So don't want to give them a head start. That's for sure.
Jason's a good knucklehead though. He's a knucklehead, but he wouldn't use it for bad.
I did have another couple of questions that came up.
Can we before we do that, Jason, can we give Leon a chance? I want to make sure Leon has an opportunity to ask a question or two before we move into product reveal time. So Leon, I know when you get that look in your eyes. You got the eye of the tiger right now. I can feel it.
Well, I'm being peer pressured by my fellow Canadians. They keep saying, "Yo, is Canadian ass about the shipping? Are they going to ship to Canada?" I'm sure we're going to get good news about that.
It's hard being across the border.
Yeah, I know. Pierre's my hat mule. And shout out to
it's ridiculous, man. I like literally like half of my walk-in closet over here is Leon's shipping center.
I have like 18 hats here for Leon too. It's terrible.
So what's the question specifically, Leon? Is there going to be shipping to Canada?
Yeah, will Lids HD sell to Canadians or ship directly to Canadians is what they want me to ask.
We would love to. So day one, we're not going to have the functionality to ship internationally. So it'll be domestic day one. Now, if this site does what we think it'll do, then would I hesitate to spin up lidshd.ca? Why not, right?
Yeah.
When we have stores over in Europe, would I hesitate to do a lidshd.eu? No, I mean, so this is all stuff that if the biggest populace with the biggest demand for hats supports the site in a meaningful way, then it's going to make sense for us to say, well, we know based on the math that Canada is going to be X percent of, what we're seeing over here. And then we can do the numbers and it'll validate the reason to go internationally for their own sites. And then we're also working right now concurrently on functionality that someone can just go to lidshatdrop.com and ship to Canada, right? So that's functionality we're looking at improving upon too, but that's going to be a phase 2 development for the site.
Yeah, no, that's that. Listen, honest answer. Leon, great question. Do you have any other questions, Leon, or anything you want to like poke at Britten with?
Nothing hard hitting for now. I'll pass it to Jason while I kind of think.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
Thanks, Leon.
So I have one question from the crowd and then one question from myself. First off, will all the drops be announced? Will they be shock drops? Will there be pre-orders? How are the drops actually going to work on Lids HD? Or do you know?
Well, I know what the plan is, right?
Okay.
Now we're adaptable. The plan to start with is there will be an email cadence to notify those that have subscribed to the email. So if you haven't, go to lidshatdrop.com and subscribe so you can get the emails. We'll have it on Instagram as well. And so you have multiple opportunities to be notified that a drop is coming. Okay. And then when the drop is live, right? So there'll be a way to be notified via email or Instagram prior to, as well as once it's live. We're not intending to do a shock drop at this point. Again, hoping that our bot protection is solid, because I think that's really primarily the reason for that. And then the other piece was, I missed one of them, but I can't remember now.
No, that was it. Pre-orders, but we know with New Era and the whole shipping thing, that's probably not going to happen for a while.
Yeah, and the pre-orders for us, like we're taking massive inventory investments, so you can get the hats. If you want to pay next day air, you can get the hats tomorrow. Yeah.
I always think back to Big Jack's verbal assault on pre-orders. So I would find it hard to believe that there would ever be a pre-order coming out of Lids.
Look, if I think the hat's good, we're just going to buy it and we're going to have it ready to go.
That's what I do my hat collection, Britten. That's what I do my hat collection.
And then
great minds think alike right there.
Then one more question for me, more about the mechanics of Lids hat drop and the first drop. Will the site be live and active and ready to go prior to the first drop? Do I need to set up an account beforehand, or will my account from lids.com work? How are all those logistics going to work out?
So I'll answer that last question first. So your account on lids.com will not transfer over.
Okay.
And we will have the site live a few days before the first drop, so people can go in there and get accustomed to it. I would be happy to have, if we talk about ways to continue to work together, right? Like we can potentially do a sneak peek prior to it going live so people can get familiar with it. Very cool. It's going to be pretty simply designed because, again, this isn't a question, but I'll answer it. So the way we have the site set up is only 2 drops are going to live on the site at any one time. And so if we do a drop on Tuesday and we do a drop on Saturday, when the next Tuesday drop comes, the previous Tuesday drop is coming off the site, right? We're going to keep it clean. We're going to have 2 drops at any time, really easy to navigate. Because again, this is for the collector. This is for the person that's eager to get on it. And so if something's been on the site for a month, it's not selling anyways, right? And at that point, we have a lot of avenues to move it and we'll do our thing. And so it's going to be very easy to navigate. There's going to be large hero images of the collections. You click on your hero image, it'll take you to every hat in the collection. There'll also be a rolling thumbnail on the homepage if you just want to see you know, kind of everything that's available. It'll be very easy to navigate.
Nice. Awesome. Awesome. Any more questions from you, Jason?
No, I think that was about it.
Really fantastic questions.
Those were the big ones that came up in the comments as we were going through the other ones. So,
Leon, any more questions from you, sir?
Someone from the crowd, I guess. They're asking about flat battermans and tonal flags. I know there's gonna be a mix. You can't please everyone, I know, but that crowd is asking for their hats to be made like that.
You know, that crowd, I think, is a great question, right? So we want to please the masses. We want to make sure there's a hat for everybody. I'll tell you right now, that's not unanimous in the fact of wanting a flat batterman and a tonal flag, right? It's not a unanimous preference. And so we need to have both and have a variety of both for different drops, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think some of it, I think some of it's like people were trained because they have an affinity, and rightfully so. People can have affinities towards different retailers, but I think affinity towards specific retailers leads to these preferences. And you know, for me, I've never thought more about a batterman in my life other than like people asking that question. I gotta be honest with you, I don't give a damn if it's flat or if it's raised, as long as the hat looks good. You know, it's all how I've always been. And
as long as it's not a word mark, we're good.
Well, for you, but I don't even care about word marks. So for me too, like I don't care if sometimes I like a tonal New Era flag. I like color sometimes if it's not gonna take away from the hat's overall aesthetic. I mean, it just depends on the hat. So, but I do get where people, you know,
that's a design preference, right? Some hats need a tonal and some hats need the color pop. And I think there's times where both work.
Yeah,
there's times where both work.
100%. Now, so we got well over 200 people in the you know, here watching right now, and 155 likes. So please, let's hit that like button, everybody. We're only 6 Discord members away from 1,000. We can make that happen right here. I know there's 6 of you in there right now. I know. Listen, odds are in my favor that 6 of you have not signed up yet. Head over to the Discord. It's free to get in there. It's fun. It's great. Go click that link that Leon's pinned. Get in there. Join. Let's get to 1,000 before this is over. Let's also get this to 175 likes. 20 more likes, and we're gonna just sit here awkwardly until we get there. And then we're gonna.
I do have one more question before we get to the preview, though.
No, that's cool. But let me just make sure that I'm getting this 175 likes.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I'll grab my coffee.
We're at 160. We need 15 more likes. Let's hit that like button, everybody. And Jason, while we're waiting for them to get to 175, how about you ask your question?
All right. So this came up in a couple different places, but I know the big thing right now is the fashion hats, the color undervisors, the patches, everything like that. Are you guys planning on doing any more like retro hats with like good grays, good green bottoms, team colors, stuff like that?
Absolutely. And I'd add on there too that one of the things I've been talking to the team about is because of our size, we can do stuff with unique fabrics that are true customs that no one else can do. And I would say we should try some unique fabrics that would make these truly exclusive hats. I will hit one thing that I saw, and I just hear it all the time. It's like this copycat syndrome thing that goes out there. Here's some nerdy speak from a New Era headwear design perspective. There's something called GCP. It's Global Custom Product. It's semi-custom headwear. Semi-custom, meaning New Era has a huge swatch of fabrics, colors, and you get to play within their sandbox. You can make almost any hat in the world, you know, within the sandbox. But once it's made, it lives in a library called Roll. And any buyer that works with New Era on the planet can say like, hey, I need an Astros hat for my store. I don't have time to design a unique one-of-one hat. Like, let's just look at Astros hats on there. And guess what? It doesn't say designed by John Jay at My Fitteds. It doesn't say designed by Britten Mon at Lids. It doesn't have any earmark there on who did it or when they did it. And this is like decades of stuff. And so you see a hat you like and you say, that's a cool hat. Let's spin it up. Right. And sometimes when you're crammed with work and you have a lot going on because you're buying for 1,200 stores, sometimes you do that. And then you come to find out that someone designed that hat 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 5 years ago. It happens, and it's not intentional, and they do it to us. We do it to them occasionally. And I think everyone in the industry takes pride in unique concepts.
Yeah.
It's never intentional.
Most.
I don't think so. I think it's important for people to know, because that's how it works. And they're there. There's not a lock and key on someone's design when they do it through GCP.
I've always said it's we're all playing with new era's Legos, and we're building things, but it's still new era's Legos at the end of the day. So, but I don't agree with you, Britton. I think some retailers do it on purpose. I don't think you do it on purpose. I don't think your organization does it on purpose, but there are. Listen, I get it, man. I mean,
the top brass in this industry do not do it, right?
No,
they just don't.
Right. No. But it's tempting. I mean, listen, if you're getting behind and you're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Not you. I'm saying there are organizations out there that are definitely doing it. But all right, cool. So we're at 1,000. We just hit 1,000. So 1,000 Discord members, which is fantastic. We hit that 176. And I love how the viewers out there and the folks that are in the comments are saying we did it. We did do it. I appreciate all of you. I think I speak for Jason and Leon in regards to that too. Thank you all for supporting. Now, what are you going to show us, Britton? You're gonna end this with a bang?
Yeah. What do you want to see first, laser or lasso? Any preference?
I'm a lasso kind of guy myself.
I'm feeling piping.
Piping it is.
Let's take a look.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here.
I think I picked out one of I'd say this is a top design in the collection. So
I do like that. I do like that.
Piping.
I like piping.
And then a nice little touch. If you get it, you get it.
I do.
So that's the lasso. Look at the side patch.
That's good stuff.
That's good metallic elements in there.
I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram Live, so if my camera work here is great, then
no, it's actually it's good. It's good.
We do have a raised batterman, so sorry about that for those that are disappointed.
Looks good to me.
You do have a beautiful metallic flag.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this pin will be available for purchase on the site.
That's
Leon loves a good cowboy hat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that one.
Nice.
Tell me if I'm going too fast or not.
No. Ooh.
Even Jason's liking this one, and it's a
look at that cowboy hat on the cowboy hat.
Bro.
Dang.
I like it.
The pins are like under lock and key, so I only had one pin for the collection here, so they don't all have the pin on it, but you get the point here.
Dang.
Yep.
7, 8.
That Yankees hat off my screen.
That's nice.
I wore my first Yankees hat when I did the reveal of the roulette.
I saw you. I saw you.
It burnt.
I saw
burnt,
you.
man. I have
Who's
a
your team,
burn
Brett?
mark. So I lived in Seattle for a couple of years. So I really liked the Mariners from the AL, and then growing up in Utah, Ted Turner, that was the home team. So 90s and the Braves. So Braves, NL, and they were always my favorite first. Again, only team I could watch.
Yeah, it's because TNT was crazy, right? Like it was not TNT, TBS.
Yep. Ted Turner Network. So, I mean, that was the team, and they were obviously very, very good in the 90s. And then I lived in Seattle right around the Ichiro phenomenon. So that,
sure.
So I feel like baseball, you can have an NL and an AL, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if they play, then I'm a Braves fan if they play. So
Got it.
Oh no.
Is that a miss for you?
No,
Good,
that's
man.
like
He loves our logo.
I love that
Okay.
logo. Oh,
Did you?
I love
Is there
that
a
logo,
Washington? Is there a Washington Nationals one?
This is where I'm not as studied up, having moved on to different roles. Like I don't have the whole collection on the back of my hand. You'll
I
have to
think
ask
I think a
Andy.
Washington Nationals would look fantastic.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Oh, looky here. Looky here. It's like you can read my mind. You ready?
Yeah, let's see.
That's a cool logo.
That's a
Oh,
cool
It's not,
logo.
Not the direction I thought they were going, but that is
No,
cool.
but
I
wonder-
just thought this one works based on the hat design though, right? Like that's
Oh, yeah,
not a
it does.
logo I would normally like,
No, I like it.
Right.
but for this collection, I feel like it works.
I'm hoping there's a Texas Rangers utilizing that cowboy hat. That would be
Logo, yeah.
perfect. But this is this one I like a lot.
Yeah, this is just again telling stories with hats. Like I would probably 99 times out of 100 pass on that logo,
Mm-hmm.
but for this collection, I feel like it just works.
Nah, I like this. I
Yeah.
like these.
All right. You good there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at laser.
And that's an example of a design too, where the non-tonal New Era flag actually makes sense.
Yep. Helps pop it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Laser time.
Let's do it.
Laser.
Oh, okay.
You already know, Brendan.
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild.
Jason, if you don't get seated with this, then just text me.
I'm texting you right now.
Nice.
is
I like that
fantastic.
colorway.
Mm.
The side patch on this I thought was a crazy one. Personally, I just thought the
Oh, yeah.
color popping off this one.
It almost looks like something you'd see in an arcade.
Yeah, I just
One
thought
of those
this was
claw
Dude,
unique.
machines or something.
it feels like an arcade you would find in a pizza parlor.
Yeah,
Like a little video game in the back of the pizza parlor.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought these
Outcast
neon
vibes,
colors.
I would say
The neon
Outcast
colors.
vibes.
Yeah, the neon
Yeah.
colors on a few of these just really worked from my
That
perspective.
purple under to mute it all too. Oh,
I like this. I like the lasso collection as well, but I think this one I like better. I like them both. I like this one better.
Now you don't need to
Mhm.
see the undervisor, but
that's a good patch right there.
Yeah,
Sommelier approved.
these are cool.
I thought the patches were crazy on these.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody,
cool
as we're
color.
wrapping up here too, Britain's showing off some stuff. Let's get to 200 likes. We need 18 more.
Ooh,
That looks good.
that does look good.
I thought that one popped.
Mm-hmm.
I thought for me, the Braves and this one both were memorable from a patch perspective.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh,
Look at Leon. That one's
Just
for you.
for those that may be joining late, we'll do one more look over.
Okay.
I like
All
the side patch on this one.
Normally on the square Batterman, I don't like the outline color, but it actually makes sense on this collection. Like
It looks
to
nice.
have that purple double outline.
I like this.
So that is what I had. I had 5 of the lasso
Ah,
and
man.
4 of the laser.
Oh,
We appreciate it, man.
That
You
is
want to do a
awesome.
rapid fire, Britain? Do a rapid fire. Let's show them all real quick. One more time.
All right, here we go. I dropped one.
It's all right.
Fumble on the goal line here. All right, ready? Here
Yeah.
we go.
LA
Side patches too.
with a 19.
Lasso.
And listen, that side patch 1959 fits that theme, man.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It does fit the theme well.
Astros with the 50th anniversary patch. The Washington Nationals with the inaugural season, right? Yeah, inaugural
That's right.
season patch.
Mhm.
And then we've got the Seattle Mariners with the 30th
30th
anniversary patch.
Yep.
That's smooth, man. Smooth. I wonder that one might have a higher price point because of the piping, right?
I
Yankees,
think this one's
99.
going for, don't quote me on it, but I think both of these are going for 50 on the first drop.
Gotcha.
Okay.
We got the San
Wonder-
Francisco Giants with the Tell It Goodbye side patch.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees in that 1946, right? 1949, sorry, World Series.
49, yeah. The UV on the lassos is tan. Just saw them.
LA Dodgers
Brown.
with the 50th anniversary patch, which is one of my favorites, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this one was great. I am biased, but I just thought this one was crazy.
That's good, man.
It's nice. It's nice. Yeah.
And I didn't show you got brown button.
Oh,
Brown
nice.
Tonal button on this
That's what
one.
Leon.
Mhm.
Leon loves the contrasting button on the top of Squatchy. Listen, this was fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're saying we got 223 people in here. We're at 193 likes. We're going to wrap up here in a minute. I just want to give Britton a chance. If there's anything else he wants to share with everybody, like if you just had to put it into maybe a couple of sentences, Britton, where you see this all going. I'd love to hear that, and we can wrap up for the evening.
Yeah, Lids Hat Drop. It's launching probably February week 3. We're going to have consistent fashion drops every week, likely 2 to 3 drops a week, 2 to start. And the whole site is designed for those people that have hundreds of hats in their collection, always looking for the next thing to tie out, looking for something fresh, never before seen. And we've missed that boat for a long time, and it's time to get back in the game and put our stake in the ground, and that's what we're doing. And I'd be missing if I didn't say that the hats in this collection, the Lays and Lasso, designed by Andy Galt. So if you don't know Andy, he's taken the torch from Big Jack. And then we have great partners at New Era that design great product with us, which we appreciate.
Yeah, listen, I can't thank you enough, Britton, for sharing with us all of this stuff and being so connected to the culture and what's going on out there. I appreciate it. I appreciate your receptiveness to what everyone's talking about out there. Leadership such as yours. I know when I'm dealing with someone who's got, some fantastic leadership qualities, and you're one of those guys. You're one of the people out there in the hat world that I think is just taking it to the next level. And there's way more to it than what people see. I think I've had the opportunity and the privilege to speak to you quite often, so I kind of understand where your head's at. And I don't think the average person knows because they don't have that opportunity. But, take trust in the fact, for anyone out there watching or listening to this, that this guy's doing it right. It doesn't mean that I like anyone more or less than, I'm just telling you, man, this guy is doing it right. And I really love what you guys are doing. And I mean that.
Well, I appreciate it. And I'm one of your guys' biggest fans, that. And something I always talk to Pierre about is like, I'm not looking for favors. Just call it how you see it, because I think that authenticity is what people want and why so many people watch Views from the Vault. And so Jason, Leon, appreciate both of you guys. And Leon, I'm going to win you over. It's going to happen. So just buckle up, get ready.
That's right. That's right. Well, again, Britton, thank you. And I want to thank all of our viewers out there. This was a great interactive discussion. Just fantastic, man. I loved having you all in the comments. I love the likes. I love the fact that we drove that Discord to over 1,000 members now. I love all this, man. This is like, I live for this stuff, It's like family, work, hats. That's the order my life is. And they sometimes compete with one another, but I love this stuff. So Britton, thanks again for being on. All the viewers, thank you. Leon, thank you for always being a stabilizing force on the panel. And Jason Mead, thanks for all the preparation work you did to get tonight right.
Great.
No more questions.
No more questions. Okay.
No more questions. We got to wrap this up, man.
All right.
All right. Let's have a good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.